Warning, there is a good chance Bitcoin Mike has no idea what he's talking about. Do your own research. Enjoy the show. Thank you. All right, folks, interesting day in the markets to say the least. You have Bitcoin hanging out at 24,518, while the stock market is completely dumping off this another bank, a European bank, a bank called Credit Suisse. Apparently, they're not doing so well, and there's rumors that they might be collapsing. This is a European bank. Their stock is crashing, and you have stocks in general just down, just bringing down the whole market, especially with, I think, banking stocks are kind of pulling down the market. So you have the Dow down 600 points. The only thing really pumping today is Bitcoin. Altcoins are taking a tumble. Many altcoins down 10%. Cardano down 10%, down 32%. I mean, not just Cardano. I mean, some of these altcoins are down 16, 17%. So this is kind of textbook, I want to say. You know, usually when bullishness comes into Bitcoin, you'll see Bitcoin kind of steal the show. Right now, especially with the whole banking situation, people are saying, oh my God, you know, banks aren't even all that safe. I might as well just buy some Bitcoin. So I think that's kind of what's pumping Bitcoin right now. And then hopefully if Bitcoin can kind of hang out between $24,000 and $26,000, eventually then it will flood into the altcoins as people get sick of Bitcoin. But this is kind of what Bitcoin was made for, days like this. I mean, I would have never predicted this. I would have called people conspiracy theorists a couple months ago who said, you know what, you're going to have some banks collapse in the United States and have to be bailed out. Because I would have been like, you know what, that already happened in 2008. They have new reforms. It can't happen. Whatever, FDIC insurance. And now you're seeing just a contagion of, I mean, all the bank stocks are tanking. So I don't know where this is going to end. I don't know if the Fed's going to just come out and completely reverse course. You know, I was listening to Cryptos R Us, and we were talking about this yesterday, that the Fed may not be able to raise interest rates anymore. If they do, it's not going to be any more than the 0.25. But a lot of people are saying they just can't do it because if they continue to raise interest rates, you're going to have more of these banks collapse. There's people betting on it, and right now the bets are like kind of leaning towards the Fed is just not going to raise interest rates.
For the next rate hike coming up, look at this, has now turned to 64% for zero. What did I just say yesterday? Even though the chart or the prediction was at like 20% and the day before was like 15%. I'm telling you, because of what's happening, inflation data is showing we're going down. Now wholesale data, retail data, right? All showing weakness. Banks collapsing left and right. There's no way Powell is going to stick being hawkish. He's going to turn dovish.
Yeah, I think he might, at least for the temporary, and that's another reason you might see Bitcoin pumping. I mean, Bitcoin's kind of very volatile right now. I mean, when I started this stream, or right before I started it, Bitcoin was Bitcoin was at 25,000 a few hours ago. Then we went down to 24.2, and now we're at 22.5. So this is a volatile day. I mean, if you can get some Bitcoin, you know, I'm actually kind of hoping that Bitcoin goes back down to $23,000 or $22,000. I'd actually like to pick up some more, but that's definitely going to kill these alts because a lot of these altcoins are down a lot. But like I said, this is par for the course. It never happens any other way. Bitcoin pumps first, and then the altcoins usually pump. But this is kind of a weird pump because this is a pump where people are going into Bitcoin for actually the reason that Bitcoin was created. It's not really a speculation pump. They're kind of going in like, wow, banks aren't all that safe. We have to get out of banks. So, like I said, this Credit Suisse Bank, whatever the hell it's called, rumors that it's not doing too well. Bank stocks in the U.S. and Europe tumbled on Wednesday as the global financial system continued to reckon with the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Shares of Credit Suisse, or Suisse, fell more than 26% in early trading after a top backer said he would not be able to provide any more cash to the Swiss bank. I think that top banker was Saudi Arabia. They've said they're not going to help bail them out. The pressure on the banking industry appears to strain some of the largest U.S. banks too. You got Citibank down 5%. I actually use them as a savings account. Wells Fargo down 4%. That's another bank that I use. Now, it might actually be a good time to buy some of these banking stocks because I can tell you for sure, Wells Fargo is not going anywhere either, nor is Citi. So this could actually be a good time to buy some of these beaten down big banks. The banking sector struggles. The latest sign of fallout from the fall on Friday of Silicon Valley Bank, the 16th largest bank in the U.S. 2 days later, Signature Bank, the nation's 29th largest bank. And now, of course, you have this Credit Suisse, which is a European bank. So there's that. I mean, who could have predicted all this stuff a couple months ago? Anyway, so you got Gareth Soloway. He did a video today. Usually he does members videos, but this is a public video. He talks a little bit about Bitcoin. I think he's looking for a pretty big pullback in Bitcoin. I think he's looking for like a $23,000 Bitcoin. I don't know. Let's see what he says.
Running to the safety of the dollar, and that also is not a good thing for the U.S. markets. Markets don't like a higher dollar. You know what else doesn't like a higher dollar? Bitcoin. Bitcoin again pulling off yesterday's high, but look at this chart. This is why I use charts in every day. I had a long and verified investing crypto in Bitcoin. You know where we unloaded it? We unloaded it right into this trend line here. Look at how this trend line has caused price to pull back every time. And so again, the thought process here is, well, don't try to reinvent the wheel, just follow the freaking charts. And that's all I did. So yesterday we unloaded just above 26,000 our Bitcoin position, and it's pulled back since then. Now, again, part of that was also a 3-bar surge. We know that in trading, when you have 3 mega green candles to the upside or 3 mega green candles to the downside, in general, you get a bounce or a pullback. In this case, when it's a sharp move up, you get a pullback to the downside. Another chart that's worked on, look at this. All right, now PacWest is down on the day today, but look at this. 1 bar, 2 bars, 3-bar surge to the downside. What happened yesterday? You got about a 30% bounce in it. So again, 3-bar surges don't basically tell you that it's 100% guaranteed, but I'll tell you this, when you get 3 bars in one direction in a market that's a major move, and we're talking, I mean, this was a 50% drop in PacWest, you're going to generally, again, probabilities. I deal in a world of probabilities. Remember that. It's nothing guaranteed. There's no sure thing. You could easily have losses. God knows I have losses. But again, it's probabilities. I want to be the house, not the gambler. I want to be the casino, not the gambler. Okay. So again, that's just a little analysis on PacWest. Let's go back to Bitcoin here. Then we're going to get into gold. We'll get into some silver as well. So stay tuned. We'll also take a look at some other charts that you guys want to take a look at. All right, so right here, this was resistance on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's hanging in there today in spite of a stronger dollar. Now, that's kind of weird. Why is Bitcoin up when the dollar is surging? The answer is so simple, and it's so poetic for why I like Bitcoin long term. Now, you guys know, shorter term, I still think we're going lower. You know, that hasn't changed. 12 to 13,000 first target, maybe 9,000 second target. But on the longer term basis, what we're seeing today, what we're seeing for the last week is exactly why Bitcoin was invented, why it came to fruition. It's because when you have this craziness in the system, when you have scenarios where the government has to come in and backstop deposits, when you have all this stuff because these banks are not doing and following the rules, or essentially they're not managing their own risk, you know what is okay? Bitcoin. And so you're seeing people, I mean, think about this. Think about how investors are selling banks and actually buying Bitcoin. This should be the most freaking exciting thing to any of us that we're seeing out there, to see this occurring, because this shows you that there is an alternative. That for some of us, yeah, I have most of my money in.
Anyway, so that pretty much sums it up, and he does make a point. This is why Bitcoin was created. This is why Bitcoin is not going anywhere. It's always going to be the Mac Daddy. Like I said, if you were to ask me a couple weeks ago, is there going to be a bunch of bank collapses this week? I'd say absolutely not. That's absolutely impossible. So that's why you see people putting their money into Bitcoin, and that's why one reason you see that altcoins, now we're down to 24,293. That's why altcoins are kind of taking a hit today. But I think eventually that money will flow into altcoins, no question about it. A little bit of Hex news. You know, we've been buying Hex on this channel, I don't know, ever since like 0.02. It's been absolutely killing it, and I do think that Pulse chain, there's been some rumors that Pulse chain is going to be released sometime in the next few weeks or next month, and I think that's only helping Hex pump. But when you see Hex on these pullbacks down 12% today, I actually think this is probably still a good level to buy Hex, because I do think when that Pulse chain comes out, you're going to see a major run on Hex. It got decimated in this bear market. It was actually one of the hardest coins hit, to be honest with you, down well over like 98% or something like that. I mean, it really got decimated. And I was nibbling at 0.02, then 0.04, and we're doing very well on Hex. I actually took some profits a couple of days ago, and we've even gone up since then. So keep an eye on Hex. Look for that pulse chain release. If you got a little bit of extra money, you're looking to buy a stinky altcoin that is high risk, high reward, that could be Hex. All right, before we pull out of here, there's not too much else going on. Everything news related today is about basically the banks. We've been in this whole bank situation for the last couple of days, banks collapsing, actually since Friday. We're seeing a contagion. We've had 3 banks pretty much go down. At least this Saucy Bank is pretty close. There's rumors of other banks that might be going down. That will only help Bitcoin. So if you're not a believer in Bitcoin at this point, I don't even know what. I mean, why even bother? Why even bother trying to explain it to you? But like I said, I do think that money will eventually flow out of Bitcoin and go into these altcoins. So it's not a bad day to be looking at altcoins either. You got Cardano down 10% or 11%. Everything, I mean, most of these altcoins are decimated. Litecoin, I bought some Litecoin a couple of days ago. I plan to buy more. I might actually buy more Litecoin down today. Litecoin down almost 12%. So, yeah, definitely be buying your Bitcoin. But if you got some extra money, don't forget about these alts. This is when you buy the alts, when they're getting decimated, when they're getting hit. I get it. You're tempted to just buy Bitcoin right now because that's what everybody's talking about. But actually, Bitcoin is not what you should be buying now. You should be buying Bitcoin when Bitcoin dumps 20%. Don't buy Bitcoin when it's like almost at all-time highs, or at least all-time high for the year. Bitcoin hit $26,000 a couple of days ago. Now we're at 24.5 or whatever it is. Bitcoin's still pretty high. So take a look at some of these alts before you start putting money into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is definitely something you should be buying, but like Gareth Soloway says, Bitcoin might have some more room to go down. Then be picking up your Bitcoin. Actually, the time to be picking up your Bitcoin was a couple months ago, but I'm just telling you guys, right now, today, the narrative is Bitcoin. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin. This is when all the retail money is flowing into Bitcoin. That is not the best time to be buying Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin on the dumps. Buy these altcoins now. There's so many. I'm not going to go through them all because these altcoins are just getting decimated today. And I'll definitely be buying some altcoins today. So why don't you join me? Anyway, that's it. We'll see what happens, guys. This is really interesting. We'll see what happens with the Fed. If the Fed does not pivot, if the Fed does not raise interest rates and they decide to pause, that's going to be absolutely bullish for the stock market. It's going to be bullish for Bitcoin. We could be on the cusp of a massive run to $30,000 for Bitcoin, which would absolutely send these altcoins absolutely to the moon. So be ready, folks. I hope you're in the rocket ship, ready to blast off. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. And I really do think there's a possibility that we could be blasting off really soon. I cannot see the Fed raising interest rates any more than 0.025, but most people now are thinking the Fed won't even raise interest rates because if more banks start collapsing this week and there's more fear, can they raise interest rates? Can they keep taking a hammer to the banking system? I mean, it's going to get to the point where the government just has to bail out almost every single bank, and they can't really afford to do that. So it's not even worth it for the Fed to continue on this hawkish stance on inflation and interest rates. So we'll see what happens, but there's been a big change. Like markets this time last week, markets this week today, complete change in everything. Like everything's changed, and that's why in these markets is why you have to be paying attention because shit changes. I mean, we're in a different world today. Last week, we were expecting the Fed to raise interest rates maybe even 0.075. We were expecting a pivot maybe not until next year. We were expecting everything to be hawkish because of the jobs numbers and inflation. But now the banks are collapsing. So it's like, well, throw that old narrative out the window. So that's why you got to be paying attention to these markets because if not, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. All right, folks, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.